South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome in. It is January 15th. You are watching Sports by the Book. We are shooting live from the South Point Hotel and Casino inside the South Point studio. I'm Alex White, your host today, co-hosting alongside my dad and professional sports bettor Kenny White. On this show, we strive to give you great information to make the best sports bets possible. We'll also give you updated lines from here at the South Point, which is a great book. Locally run. It is a locals book too. So if you are visiting, come on in to South Point. If you live here, make sure you stop in and say hello. 7 days a week. Sports by the Book. You can find us at 9 a.m. and Saturdays 8 a.m. All right, we've got a lot to get to. 2 hockey games, a slate full of college basketball, and then at about 9:20, we are going to go through 5 big football games, 4 divisional games in the NFL, and a national championship coming up next Monday between Ohio State and Notre Dame. So, good morning. How was your commute in today? Was it a little better?
Good morning. Yeah, I was on Jones for a little while, and I said, can't stay on this very long.
No.
But trying to find a way to get here has been a little challenging. I'm hoping they get that construction finished on the 215.
Is that the Southwest?
It's going to be it's going to be beautiful here in 30 years. They're going to have the traffic just perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Southwest side, really just a mess.
Cones.
But it will be.
I didn't know there was that
really
many
nice
construction cones in the world as there are here. They must all be here in the United States. No one else is doing any type of construction or building other than here, because there is construction and building, I feel like, on every block.
It's crazy. Vince actually said that in the chat yesterday, the orange cone, one of Nevada's state flowers.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly true. It really is. Every time I see him, I think of that, Vince.
So welcome in, everybody. Please join the chat. If you are watching live, we'd love to hear from you. And we're going to get right into it. We're going to start with some hockey, because we may have a guest at the very end of the show, too, to talk about something new coming up. So
yeah, Rich Rose, I'm hoping we can get on the show. He's with Grand Slam Track, and I think he's just getting it okay. This is Michael Johnson, the 4-time gold medalist, started Grand Slam Track. This will be year 1. They've been working on this for a couple of years, and they have 4 slams, 4 meets, and we'll let Rich go over those. It's 4 great destinations too for people to go to watch these, but they would love wagering on the events.
So that's perfect. You'll hear first from us, and we'll give you as much information on that as we can. And I don't think we'll be able to give any tips on those lines, though.
Not today.
Not today.
or maybe when they go up, because I possibly may be making their betting numbers.
Yes. Okay, let's get into some hockey. Not a bad day. We should go over our whiteboards first and check them. So Columbus Blue Jackets did not make my board, but I did talk about it and I had bet it overnight. So I gave myself that. It is a 2-3-1 night for me last night. How did you do? I see some more W's over there than mine.
3-2 on the totals. I was just thinking I guess I left off North Texas off this, but that was a good thing because that was a dead under the entire game. I bet it under, and there was North Texas had the ball. They could have run the clock out, and somebody threw the ball away with less than 5 seconds to go, and it went out of bounds. East Carolina got it, shot a 3, and made it.
Wow.
And the game went over by half a point.
Gosh.
And there was no reason for them to even get the basketball. But I went 3-2 on the whiteboard for the totals. My double dog dare you today, from yesterday on punchlines. Mississippi, they went straight up.
Yep.
Didn't even need the points. Should have bet them on the money line. And the Rangers plus 143. Took a 2-1 lead into the third. I thought they were in great shape. One of the best goalies in hockey. They were playing better. Said, man, they are playing good. That was a good bet. And then Colorado ties it and wins in overtime.
We did suggest a parlay that did not hit because Detroit, after their 7-game win, did lose to San Jose. We should have actually tied them up with Winnipeg, who is playing so good. They won 6-1 over Vancouver. But you also like Boston. Man. You said it's very rare to get this plus money with Boston, and they beat Tampa Bay 6-2. So fun night in hockey. Unfortunately, the Knights did lose to Nashville. But
I did mention yesterday that, because I saw it in the morning, I was very shocked that out of 11 games, all 11 home teams were favorite.
Yes.
Yesterday. All home favorites, which is really shocking to me because I would say 1 out of every 3 games is a dog. And then we get 2 games on the board today. Oh, 13 games. 13 out of 13 were all favorites. So we only get 2 today, and they're both road favorites. So
not surprising with the 2 teams that are on the road with Edmonton and, of course, Carolina.
It doesn't mean anything. It can't win us any money, but it was just interesting to me.
Yes.
I find little things interesting, like I'm making college basketball totals and I make 144, and the next game I make 144, and then the next game is 144. It's like, how can this be? But,
Consistency around the women's college basketball?
Yeah, that could be too. And, even men's too. So, let's get on to some hockey. We got 2 games today. I do want to update my screen just to make sure I have the right numbers. Let me see if reload does work here. Carolina is at Buffalo. 2 really good goalies. It's 2 good defensive teams, but they're also offensive teams.
Yes.
Buffalo's on a 4-game winning streak. Carolina is the favorite. Saw $1.80 this morning in the opener. It's still $1.80. And that total right now is at 6 under still.
6 under. So I do like that going over there, getting even money. So we've got a 6.5 and Carolina minus 167 on the road against Buffalo. You mentioned it, both of them being really good offensive teams. The Canes 6 in goals for, 3.34, and 10th in goals allowed. Buffalo tied for 13th. They're averaging 3.02 a game, but they are 27th in goals allowed at 3.37. Looking at their medians, 3-3 for both of them, home and away. So I think that is a good over there. Yeah,
I like when you're giving me both teams are better offensively than they are on the defensive end, so that's a good thing. So over 6 there in Buffalo. And then Edmonton at Minnesota. Let me get to the hockey and get the numbers right up here. Edmonton, $1.75 favorite. Open to 75 here at the South Point, up to 220. The total 5.5 over a quarter has been bet up to 6 under 15.
So now it's right there at our number at 6 over minus 125. I found it interesting, though. The Wild went to Edmonton November 21st and won 5-3. Then the Oilers got their revenge, went to Minnesota. They won December 12th, 7-1. So high-scoring games we've seen so far between these two, which is surprising because both of these goalies have been playing very well. But the Oilers are 8th in goals for and 7th in goals allowed. And then Minnesota is tied for 16th in goals for, so just under 3 for them. And they are tied for 8th in goals against. So both a little bit better on the defensive side and not giving up goals. So we don't want to jump in on that over 6 now that it is bumped up.
You might have gone over 5.5.
Yep.
But the side, you have Edmonton $1.15. Minnesota's playing good hockey. Both teams are good. And Minnesota's playing well.
Minnesota is playing well. They have struggled a little bit at home. They're 11-9-1 at home, but they're 7-3 in their last 10. Both teams are 7-3 in their last 10. The Oilers have been good on the road, 12-6-2, but I do think there is value getting that big plus price here with Minnesota.
Looking at the median numbers, Edmonton is on median average $1.45 on the road against a average team. Is what that's saying. Minnesota's minus 125 in their home game. So Edmonton's not playing an average team. I could make a great case that this number should never be 220 in the game unless there was injuries for Minnesota. That would be the only way I could make a case that, the number should be that high. And looking at the total, Edmonton, their scoring on the road has been great.
Yes.
4 goals, they median scoring per game, and only allowing 2.5. Minnesota 3-3 at home. Really
curious because Draisaitl was leading in goals for a while. Yeah, let me double check this number here because I am curious. He is still leading in goals with 31 on the year. Next best, Florida, Sam Reinhart has 27. So little concern there. And we're still waiting for Philip Gustafsson to get back into form. He went out for injury and it just has not quite been the same. But so small play on this. Pete's money?
Yeah, well, you're getting a big price too. So
less than a unit.
Yeah. I would go if you went a half of a, not even a unit, a half of a percent is like 1/7 of a unit, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you should figure about 2.5%. Oh, 1/5 of a unit.
1/5 of the unit.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into some college basketball. Then we'll still have a lot of football to get to. So let's go down this slate here.
All right. I am
college basketball has
so
been
glad
good.
It was a good morning. I was worried it wasn't going to be a good morning because I had to update that NFL. Was running a little late. Ended up getting that out, and then I was able to had time to complete the college basketball. So extremely happy with how the morning has gone so far.
I was happy to see your power ratings and where you have your number 1 team and the difference from them to number 2, because I thought mine was a little extreme, but
where in the NFL?
Ours are very close, yes.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Yes.
Hold your horses. College basketball?
College basketball, here we go. Okay, so VMI is a 2.5-point favorite at home. The total is 146.5.
I have Western Carolina on top a half and 136.5. So pretty good size difference there. 10-point difference in the total. Western little up tempo pace, but both these teams are really poor offensively. Western's going to really try to create a fast pace with their pressure defense. But again, I don't know if you're going to get a lot of makes out of these basketball teams. VMI is 8-5 under on the season. On the road this year, Western is 4-3 to the over. That scares me a little bit, but again, it's a high total for a very close game. So I will go under there, but I don't think that game will make my board.
Okay, going under in that one. I did want to let you know, Western Carolina did win both games last year. In this matchup, so
good. Thank you. I knew you did. You told me you did the homework for us, so I didn't have to do that today. That's great.
So that keeps you off that side because otherwise you would be leaning to taking the points there.
Yeah, I'm
right?
not going to give the home team anything for the revenge. I don't because I'm already giving them a home advantage for playing at home. I like to have that. If I bet the home team, I like that motivation, and I should have used. My sides were very good yesterday. The one team I said Miami of Ohio is the way better team, and they have revenge. They won easily yesterday. So
we'll look for some of those.
And Illinois was another one that I said there's a lot of motivation. They are both 4-2. They're tied. You know you're going to get both teams' best effort, and in that case, we've got a good play on the Illini, and they won easily. I think they scored 60 in the first half.
Wow.
Vanderbilt.
Yep, 9.5 here at the South Point total 141.
I have 8 and 149, and this total was bet under, but Vanderbilt's an up-tempo team with a great offense. I will definitely go over in that game. South Carolina, will try to slow it down a little bit, but they are the underdog in this game, and if they do fall behind, they're going to have to keep up with the pace. Another game that I may look to, I'll bet it pregame, but that's also maybe if I get a chance to look at, 4:00 when they go to halftime, to maybe bet it over if it was a low first half.
South Carolina did win last year on their own home court, so nothing there, but pretty impressive, Vandy, 13-3 going into tonight's game. Davidson, 2-point favorite on the road, total 149.
I have them 2 and 143. I lean to the under, but when I looked at my sheet on the right, it's a lot of blue. LaSalle likes to run, and Davidson, again, has another great offensive team, but not very good on the defensive end. LaSalle also likes to play a little pressure defense, which will create more possessions in this basketball game. So lean to the under, but I'm going to pass.
All right, how about this ACC matchup here with Wake Forest and Stanford? Wake is a 6.5-point favorite at home, and the total 141.
I made it 7 and 146, so maybe a little lean to the over. Stanford's got a really solid offense. They're averaging 77 a game, and Wake Forest, their defense is a defense that it's good, but they pressure a little bit too. So they'll force teams to shoot early in the shot clock. I don't really see a big edge there, and it was bet into a play, so I'm just going to pass.
Dayton is a 7.5-point favorite at home, total 134.5. The Dayton Flyers 11-5 on the year, but just 1-2 in the Atlantic 10 right now.
Yeah, I like it under. Made the game 5.5, 121.5. This is two slowdown teams that both are very, very good defensively. Now, Dayton is a solid offensive club. You can't take that away from them. 76 points per game, but George Mason's defense allows just 61 a game, and they're going to limit possessions, and both teams do on defense as well. So I think it's going to be a very, very low possession game. I'm under the 135. That is one that could make the whiteboard.
I like it as well. I think you'll be excited about this one. UAB, 3.5-point favorite on the road, total 156.5. So UAB won at home last year. Nothing really there. But they also knocked South Florida out of the AAC tournament. No, they were knocked out. South Florida went on to win it. So Florida, actually, so UAB with a little bit of revenge from the tournament. Lost
the conference tournament. So yeah, at the end of the season, they remember that the most. That was their last game of the year, probably, unless they played in one of the smaller tournaments. Again, my number was 2. If I add the 2.5 points for revenge, I'm at 4.5. So
not enough.
Not enough there. Total 159. No play on the total either. These two teams both run, and both are better offensively than they are in the defensive end. That would be a game to look for if they get off to a slow start. You're going to get the pace and you'll get the points at some time in that game.
Let me make sure that I do have that. No, UAB won. So I just typed it in wrong.
UAB won the conference tournament?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to get, again, that's the home team that has the revenge.
Yep.
I'm going to pass on that.
Okay. Because when you said it was the last game, I was thinking I didn't think it was. Okay. Chattanooga's a 4-point favorite at home, total 146.5.
I have 4.5, but 161.5. High total it's surprising for two teams that do not play fast. However, both teams' offenses are way, way better than their defense. This is kind of like Army-Navy, that they're very efficient offensively, and that's the way these two teams play. Surprising that Chattanooga's a slower team because Dan Earl, the head coach, has been there 3 years. Dan Earl is an up-tempo coach. He loves to run. So he may have played a lot of teams with a slow schedule, but I don't mind going over there because the defenses are both below average and the offenses are very good.
What'd you say you had the side?
4.5.
4.5. Okay, because Wofford does have revenge. They lost both regular season and in the tournament too.
They lost the tournament too?
Yes.
They went 0-3 last year.
So that would be a good spot.
That's a revenge factor. I would make the game 2. Was open 3.5, bet up to 4. Kind of surprising because a lot of people just blindly bet those revenge factors when you lost 3 games the previous year.
Yeah.
This is a game that Wofford has been looking forward to, that they have had circled on their calendar to beat Chattanooga. So it's close to being a play.
Close. Samford 5.5 on the road, total 165.5.
7 and 175.5, and up tempo. Both these teams run. Bucky McNeil, 5th year at Sanford, 42nd fastest team, and Ryan Ritter in his first year at Mercer, he came in with the attitude, we're going to run and gun, and they're 11th fastest team in the country. Wow. McMillan offense for Sanford, 41st, defense 254 on my number. So we know they can score, and they give it up. So I love that game over.
165.5, high total, but with how fast Sanford is playing. Missouri State 3 at home, total 136.
This game must have gone down to 3. I know there was 4s out there. I have made it 5.5. I didn't play the side. The total 131.5. Lean to the under. I missed it. If it's 136, it's close to being an under. Missouri State extremely slow. Both teams' defenses are way better than their offenses. So. Something to look at there, maybe, if you could find a 136.5. Even 136 may not be bad, but small play. 2
of the worst in Missouri Valley Conference, right? And these two did just play each other. Southern Illinois won at home, 88-78 in overtime.
Well, overtime.
Yep.
And when you said that when you were going into 88-78, I thought, how could they get that many? Because neither team really shows a home or away disparity in how they score and how they defend. They're both pretty equal. So they've seen each other. I like that second time around. That even adds a little bit more to maybe why I like it under too.
Agreed there. All right, now we've got 2 of the 3 worst in the Big East. Butler, 7.5 at home, total 137.5. Seton Hall won both matchups last year.
Butler, I have 7, so no play, 130.5, and a lot of red when I look to the right. 2 slow-down teams that both are way better defensively than they're on the offensive end. This is Shaneen Holloway for Seton Hall. He was at St. Peter's, took them into I think he took them to the Elite 8. They made that great run, and they played very slow and played great defense, and this Seton Hall team is no different. So love that under.
Under 137.5 in that matchup. Iowa State 5.5 at home, total 144. No revenge or anything in this game, but Iowa State is coming off of that big overtime win over Texas Tech.
This is a great game because if you're going to narrow down 8 teams to win the national championship, I think these 2 are in the discussion. Iowa State for sure. Mm-hmm. They have the better roster this year, but Kansas has that pedigree, and they'll have that confidence by the end of the season that they can win it all. I have the number right there. I'm in at 5.5 and 144. Looks like both these teams are pushing the pace. Iowa State, amazing. TJ Otzenberger running. But both defenses, top 10. So my total right there.
Did you say in the past that you thought he wanted to run?
I thought he did. When he came here, I thought that's what he was going to do.
Right.
And he never did.
And then Iowa State never did. They were almost as slow as Houston and played that good defense for a while.
And they didn't play defense here. When he was here,
right.
They didn't play defense. And I was shocked when he went, he left, and all of a sudden he became a defensive guru. And
I'm shocked at how you keep on getting that roster up at Iowa State, but his recruiting is very good.
Yeah, very interesting. 10-5 ATS. He's covering spreads.
And just 1 loss on the season for them. All right, Fordham is a 1-point favorite at home, total 155. Nothing in this one.
Yeah, nothing. It's right there. I made it 4.5 and 154.
Okay, George Washington 3.5, total 136.5.
I made him 5 and 138, so we can pass on that one.
Oakland 8.5, total 135.5.
I have 10.5 and 145.5. So a 10-point difference in the total to the over. But when I look to the right away I see red, and that's because of the pace. Both of these teams extremely slow, bad offenses. The only thing that leads to an over is they are both horrible defenses. Indianapolis 8-6 to the over, so they've shown a profit going over. But Oakland 7-10, 10-7 under. And Greg Camp, 40 years now, 40 years. He'll probably retire after 40 years, I'm guessing this year. He's always been an up-tempo guy, but this year his team's playing extremely slow. So, but that number's so low at 135.5. I'm going to go over just stick with my process on that game and go over the 135.5, 1%.
You Indy and Oakland won both last year, so if you added that in, then that would get you very close to that 8.5.
Oh, so we got a revenge factor, yeah.
But you had it 10, right?
Yeah, so it'd be 10. Down to I'd make the game 8, take 2.5. I use 2.5 points for revenge. That's what it's been worth over the years.
All right, we've got UNC Greensboro 16.5 at home, total 131.5.
I have 15.5, 123, and I look to the right, a lot of red. Citadel, terrible offensive team, 62 points per game. Very, very slow. Greensboro, solid defensive team. Their defense is far better than their offense, so definitely an under there.
Cleveland State is a favorite at home, 5 points, total 132. Split last year, each of them won at home. So
I have 6.5 on Cleveland State. So I lean to the side, but I guess I lean to the side because Northern Kentucky has been horrible against the spread, 4-12. Wow. But I like it under, so I'm not going to bet the side because I have a really good play on the under in this game. I only made it 113. Two ridiculously bad offenses, and both defenses are very, very solid. Cleveland State plays extremely slow. Both teams trend to the under. Northern Kentucky 11-5 under. Cleveland State 9-6 under. That's one that's going to make my whiteboard.
Oh, right. Under 132, and you've got it in the teens. So that is a good play there. Purdue-Fort Wayne, 1 point favorite on the road, total 153. These two won on each other's home court last year. Purdue-Fort Wayne last to lose at Wright State, or last to win at Wright State, 79-77 in overtime. So they've got some revenge.
It's right there. I made it 1-158.5. I do lean to the over. Both teams play up tempo. Both teams are extremely good scorers. Both teams far better scoring than they are on the defensive end. So that's a lot of blue in that one. I'm going to go over there.
Over 153 in that one.
Small play, 1%.
North Carolina, 15-point favorite at home, and Herbert Davis has his team playing very fast. Total 161.5.
Oh, yeah, and at home, I always love when I get teams that continue to play faster and faster at home, and that is Hubert Davis's team now in his fourth year. The sides right there, I made a 15, but I made the total 180. Wow. I have this a 97-83 final. California, 66th best offense, 249 on defense. North Carolina is going to run up and down, and they're going to put points on the board, and they're going to score in this game at will. And Cal's going to run with them because they run, and they don't play any defense. So they'll get their points because North Carolina, once they have a 20-some point lead, they'll relax the defense a little bit too. This could be a really good second half overplay.
St. Bonnie minus 13, 127.5 in this one.
I have 10 and 129.5, so nothing there.
Okay, we've got NC State, 1.5 on the road, total 133.
I have 2 and 138. The number says over, but looking to the right of my sheets, a lot of red. Okay. And NC State 12-5 to the under this year. So I'll pass on that one. Let me check real quick if I can. I'm going to find the home and away for those two teams. NC State, where'd you go?
715 is the rotation number, if that helps.
Yeah, I don't see. Maybe I'm guessing my printer ran out of paper. It's probably sitting at home, not being printed yet. So that's okay. I'll pass on that. All right.
Maybe we can find it. We've got Furman, 3.5 at home, total 141.5.
I have 3.5, 147, and two good offenses. These two teams can score. Furman doesn't play fast, so they're a slow-down team. But they are efficient. Both are efficient on offense. They both average in the 70s. East Tennessee State 75 and Furman 70. Defense is allowing the 60, 69 and 67. It's going to be close. I think it's going to be close. Since it's an over and I got some other good plays, I'm going to pass on that one.
Okay.
If it was the only game of the day, I'd bet a 1% over on it, but that's it.
Florida Atlantic's a 2-point favorite on the road against Tulane, 153.5.
I have Tulane 1.5, 154.5. I lean to Tulane, but again, crossing zero, don't really have a lot of value, and the total's right there.
Troy 13.5 on the road, 136.5.
14 and 133. Not a lot to talk about there. We'll pass.
Michigan State 12 at home, 154 against Penn State.
Thought we might have an over here, but I don't. 12.5, 152. Both teams playing up tempo. Both teams very good offensively. Michigan State's played really good defense, though, this year. Both teams are scoring in the 80s. Penn State's averaging 84.4, and Michigan State 80.6. But my numbers just don't say that it's that high because both teams do play good defense.
Yes.
Penn State allows 70 a game, and Michigan State 65.
Michigan State right now 11th in defense efficiency on KenPom. Texas State 9.5, total 147.
I have 8 and 133.5. So we got a big difference to the under here. The trends don't say it. Georgia State 8 and 8 on their totals. Texas State is 9 and 5 to the over, but Texas State's the slowdown team here. They play very, very slow. Georgia State struggles offensively. We do not have great defenses. That's a problem there. I am going to bet it under, but not for a big play. It wouldn't make my whiteboard because we don't have the defense. We don't have all the tangibles lining up in place in that game.
Well, we do like when the home team is the slow down team, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're going
to control the tempo. And Georgia State doesn't run really. That's not their game plan. So they're not going to get them into a fast-paced game. Texas State will control the pace in that game.
Okay, we've got South Alabama 13.5, total 139. I see some color on here. Where'd that total? That total's open 139, went up to 140.5, and now is back down to 139.
I'm right there with you on that game, Alex. South Alabama 12.5, 142.5.
Okay.
Nothing. Pasadena.
Okay.
I shouldn't say that.
Illinois, Chicago 2.5, 138.5.
I have Murray, a half a point favorite, again crossing 0, 151.5 though. Looks like an overplay. The home team, Illinois, Chicago, playing up tempo. Both teams very good offenses. Both teams better offense than defense. So yeah, that's definitely going to be an overplay. But a 1%er.
Okay, over 138.5, 1%. TCU 4.5, total 142.
I made them 8 and 163.5, and so we the numbers say over. Indiana State plays very fast. They're 12 and 3 to the over this year. Bradley 10 and 6 to the over.
Sorry, I'm on TCU.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back to TCU. 4.5 and 135.5. So I lean to the under.
Okay.
Don't know if I like that because Utah, Craig Smith's team, playing very fast, very good on offense, and their defense is ranked 100 right now. TCU, Jamie Dixon, he's the under guy. If this game goes under, it's because of TCU. And my numbers say it should go under. But Utah could get TCU into a little up-tempo here in this game. So I'm going to play it under, but again, small play.
Small play on the Utah and TCU. All right, let's go to Bradley. 8, I think that's what you had, and the total 155.
Yep. I have 163.5 on that game, and this is Indiana State. Yep. I like it over, but Matthew Graves, new head coach there, because their guy Schwartz, we talked about him yesterday, went to St. Louis. And that game ended up going under after a huge first half. The second half, VCU just shut them down. But Indiana State runs, one of the fastest teams in the country. They're very good offensively and terrible defensive team. Bradley, way better on the offensive end than they are on the defensive end. So, yeah, I like that total over.
I do as well. That will make my board. Houston, 17 at home, total 124.
This is my game. It's Houston all the time. Their defense is just so good, best in the country. I hate to say when I have numbers this big of a difference, but 17 I made the side right on. Total 95. And again, because it's going to be limited possessions, because West Virginia plays slow. West Virginia's offense is number 102, playing against the number 1 defense. But West Virginia's defense is number 18.
Wow.
They play great defense. Now, this is the type of game, though, that, defensive intensity sometimes picks up as the game goes along. I do worry about this game a little bit that the first half, if Houston knows they're way better and they know they're a 17-point favorite, you don't get the great defense. If I said to the Houston players right now, you get $1 million if you hold West Virginia under 40, they would hold them under 40. There's no doubt in my mind. But they know they're 17-point favorite. You're not going to get their A-plus defense to start this game. There could be some points scored early. I worry late if that's a big lead that the defense never steps up to be that number one defense. I'm going to bet it under, and it's going to make my whiteboard, but there are question marks there, even though I have that big of a difference on this game, just because those couple facts that I pointed out. I've seen this happen many times where my great defense doesn't play like they're number one because they know they're going to win the game easy.
I will just challenge you by saying West Virginia only has 3 losses on the year, and they are all respectable losses: Pittsburgh, Louisville, and Arizona. So Houston might not be too confident coming in here.
Yeah, if they don't know the point spread, they will be, because they know that, their coach is going to try to sell them on this is a really good basketball team that we're playing tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my chances.
Yesterday it was Mississippi that played really good defense and hung around and had the lead against Alabama. And then this one could be the same thing, that West Virginia hangs around early and it's a really low scoring first half. And I hope we get a 29-24 first half or lower.
Yes. Tennessee 11.5 here at the South Point. So a little bit of buyback on Georgia. Total 133.5. I
have 10.5, 129.5, and the two defenses are way better than the offenses. However, it's not a lot of margin for me, and we got several other plays, so I'm going to pass. I'd like to have a 5-point difference, and I don't.
Georgia did win the matchup last year, but it was in Athens, so nothing on that one. Loyola Chicago 3-point favorite, total 145.5.
I have 3 and 146. Nothing there.
Drake 10.5, total 124.
I have 9.5, 115. Been under with Drake a lot this year. They're 9-5 to the under. They play extremely slow and play very good defense. I'm definitely going under in that game.
Definitely should have checked that game for revenge. Okay, let's go Cincy and Colorado. Cincinnati is a 3.5-point favorite on the road, total 136.
Made them 4 and 139. A little lean to the over, but I won't bet it because, again, it's gone way up. It's only a 3-point difference now. This total I would have gone over the opener at 132.5 at Circa, but not now.
All right, Nebraska, Omaha 4.5, total 149.
Hey, my one side of the day. I don't know if you checked for revenge in this game, but I made Omaha 9.5, and the total 145.5. Nothing on the side, but I do like Omaha.
Of course, that is one that I skipped over. Let's see if we can find it quickly. Denver. Denver beat them.
They play twice? Denver beat them twice?
Well, Denver beat them in the Summit League tournament.
Oh, they did?
Yes, they did.
Oh, so we have revenge as
well. That was the last
well.
game of the year for Nebraska Omaha.
Well, very nice. We have a revenge factor for Omaha. I like that.
Yes.
I like that. That's going to make, I'm going to put that on my whiteboard today because I didn't use my sides yesterday and I should have.
Yes. Pittsburgh 2.5, total 149.5.
It's right there. 2.5, 150.5.
All right. And SMU 6-point favorite on the road, total 135 against Virginia.
9.5. I have SMU. So would like to know if they have revenge factor because I do have a 3-point play, but I do have a play on the total. Made it 118. Big difference. SMU likes to run, but Ron Sanchez, who took over for Tony Bennett, has been playing the same way Virginia has played all these years, slow, and slower. They're a terrible offensive team, but very, very good defensively, and they force you deep into the shot clock. So I think it'll be definitely limited possessions, and Virginia will try to play that style to hang around and stay close and give themselves a chance to win, so I'm under there.
Under in that one. You got me because SMU is their first year in the ACC.
Okay.
So there will be no revenge. Okay, so you're just going under in that one, no side.
Correct, just going under.
Purdue 7.5 on the road, total 146.
I made Purdue 11, 152.5, and you won't have to check that because again, you're right. These two teams, first year in the conference for Washington. Purdue 9-8. ATS, nothing to write home about. The total, I lean to the over, but Purdue plays very slow, and both teams do play very, very good defense. I'll pass that one.
Washington just 1-5 to start the year in the Big Ten, and you have Matt Painter on the other side. Does that make a stronger case for your side there?
Purdue, they just haven't played well.
Yeah.
They lost a lot of talent from last year. So
just 2 more games here. We've got the Sooners 2.5 at home, total 148.5 against Texas. Texas won both last year.
I have Texas a half and 152, so pretty much right there. Both teams love to play fast. Both teams very good offensively. They both average 81 per game, but the defenses, Texas allows 65 and Oklahoma 71. Texas does have the better defense and getting points, but you said they won both last year?
Yep. So that takes you off of that one.
Porter Moser will have his team ready. We're crossing 0, so no value.
All right, we do have revenge here for the Rebels. Utah State 5.5 on the road, total 148.5, and Utah State won in Las Vegas last year, 87-86. That was a controversial call there in that game.
I made Utah State 7 and 150.5. So the numbers are pretty close. I do lean to Utah State. Jared Calhoun has come in and they've really played well. Now they've had a very easy schedule. This may be one of their more difficult games of the year against a good team. I think UNLV will be fired up and ready. So there's no way I could lay it. The total is right on.
Okay, there we go. That's our college basketball segment. Now, we might have to go over a few. I did like some of those totals early on, and I didn't start writing them down until later, but we can go over that and then figure out our whiteboard. We're going to take a 1-minute break. When we get back, we have 5 football games to go through, and then we will have a guest with us at the end of the show. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in 1 minute.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports by the Book, live from the South Point studio. Just checking in with the chat quickly. JR, John K., Dean, Vicarious Vegas, 40 Kid, Bob Custer, Damon, and Vince. Welcome. We appreciate all of you being in here. And I did notice a question in there about pizza money bets. So next week we will dive into that and a little bit of money management, which I know you have covered numerous times on Bet the Gamut, but I don't know if we ever have here on Sports by the Book. So got to get through these football games, but next week we can make sure to do that.
Just throw it out there. Pizza money, the price of a pizza. You know, you're making basically a $20 bet on that parlay or that game.
Is that relative to your unit size, though, depending on different people? Your pizza money might be a little different than my pizza money.
Very true. Very true. I like a lot of toppings on my pizza.
Okay, we will get more in depth in that next week. But let's start off. We're going to start off with our one college game. How's that? Or did I switch it up on you?
No,
did you say that. NFL?
Yeah, no, you can jump into the college game. I don't have that sheet in front of me, but
let's start NFL. Plus, you have a show Friday, Sports by the Book, where you will do that remotely, which I'm sure you will.
Well, we also have Monday because that's when the game's played.
We also have Monday.
You and I will be going over that game on Monday. Let's just do NFL.
Let's start with NFL. Houston Texans, Kansas City Chiefs. Let's make sure I have the updated lines here. I don't know if there has been any movement at the South Point.
First, you asked me to do something.
I did ask you.
Before we jump into next week's, let's look at what happened last weekend because you asked about pace of play.
We have not updated our pace of play in quite some time. So curious.
I thought it would be interesting when you asked about that to go back and look at last week's games, let you know what the pace of play for each team was, and then what transpired.
Okay.
So the Chargers were the slowest team in the NFL, 30.8 seconds in between plays. They had to play faster because they were losing. Makes sense. 28.4. Houston, number 25, 29.8 seconds on the regular season, 29.5. So they didn't play slower. They won the game. So we can expect Houston to play a normal pace. Pittsburgh, number 15, at 29.1. Well, they fell behind. They had to play faster, 27.3. Baltimore, number 27, a slower team, 30.3 seconds. 33 seconds.
Wow.
Almost 3 seconds more in between plays against the Steelers. So that's why that game went under. If they'd play a little bit faster, there would have been more time at the end of the game for them to punch in the last touchdown.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they did get out to a 21-0 lead too, so Then they could really take their time.
And that's Bill Belichick, and he introduced that to the rest of the NFL. Pass early to get ahead and then run late to run the clock out. Buffalo and Denver. Denver, 11th fastest team. They were the second fastest team in the playoffs last week in round one. Washington was first, but Denver was number 2, 29 seconds. They're playing Buffalo. They fell behind. They had to play a lot faster, 26 seconds in between plays. So they really played fast. Denver, number 23 at 29.8, 34.8.
You mean Buffalo?
Buffalo really slowed their pace down 5 seconds more. They let that clock run down on every play. So Buffalo's playing Baltimore. You can expect that to happen late. The only way you get a lot of scoring is if it's a close game back and forth and they got to score. If one of those teams has a double-digit lead, expect that maybe to be an under in the fourth quarter. Green Bay, 30th. At 30.5, they played 29.5. They lost. They played a little bit faster. Philadelphia, 21st in pace, 29.6 seconds, 32.2. Another winner that played a lot slower than their regular season pace. Washington, as I said, number 8, 28.5 was at 30.8. But again, they won. So they did play a little slower. This is the interesting one. Tampa lost, but Tampa didn't play fast all year, 29th in the league, 30.4 seconds. You'd think they would play fast with all the points they've scored this year and all the passing they do, but Baker Mayfield was very accurate. So they were one of the slower teams, and they were 33.5. But it was a close game, so it wasn't a game that they were far behind, that they had to, play, 2-minute warning football most of the game. They just didn't have to do that. Minnesota, 22nd, 29.7, had to play faster because they were losing, 27.3. Wow. The Rams, number 12 at 29 seconds, 32.7.
Wow.
All the teams that won played a lot slower in the playoffs than they did in the regular season. So I think there's merit to that you should take a little bit off your totals because of that.
Well, what were the totals this past weekend?
They were 5-1 under.
5-1 under after Monday. Yeah.
5-1 under.
So, and you contemplated taking a
point and a half. I went back and did 5 years, and it was a 1.5 points lower. The totals were than the closing number wasn't. I didn't even look regular season. I just playoff closing total minus how many points they scored per game, 1.5 points. Could be worth 2.5.
So that does make me nervous for 2 of these games, and that because Washington and Tampa closed 51, did not get there, and that's because of what you said. It was closer, but both teams were trying to control the tempo and slow it down a little bit, and so we have teams like Baltimore and Buffalo going head to head. Washington and the Lions, which we thought is an easy over, but not always the case.
Never easy over, and it is Baltimore. It is Buffalo, and the weather there, it's going to be freezing cold.
Well, let's dive into these games and check out our spreads as well, because pretty big spreads here for a divisional round. We have 4 of them that are 6 or higher. So starting off with the Texans getting 8 in Kansas City, total 41.5. Now, Houston does have home revenge because in the regular season, Kansas City did win in Houston. They won that game 27-19. But time off for the Chiefs. Now, basically, they have a bye week, and then they also rested players the week before. So that kind of cancels each other out, right?
Yeah, it does. And, I like that revenge factor, but this week off, this late in the season, the better team at home with a great home field, I gave them their normal, but it may be worth more than that. I made Kansas City 7-44 The weather was going to just be cold. No, a little bit of wind. A little bit of wind. I think I took something off my total. Let me see here. Did I? Yeah, I did. I took a touchdown off my total because of the weather. So I only have 37. I'm looking to go under in that game.
I under 41.5 with taking a touchdown off.
Yeah.
So I have 43. So that would put me there as well.
Yeah, it's going to be windy and cold. And if these teams are going to get more conservative, Kansas City's 18th in pace, 29.3. Houston, number 25 in pace, 29.8. Not a big difference, but they're both close to 30 seconds. I think they'll both take more than 30 seconds in between plays in this game.
Do you have your ranking for defense and where you have Kansas City?
I do not.
No rankings right now, but I know they are pretty high on for defense.
I love Kansas City's defense. Very, very good defense.
While we're here, somebody in the chat did ask which NFL team had the best home field advantage.
I
didn't.
Trying to think who I do have. I think Kansas City, Buffalo has a very good home advantage. Philadelphia, has a great home advantage. Their crowds are very, very loud. Seattle has always been, they like to say they're the 12th man up there as well, like Texas A&M does. They're very, very loud. Denver has always been a good home field, mainly because of the altitude, that it's an advantage there. But Kansas City's fans are extremely loud, and that's always been one of the better home fields. So from what I've learned from you, we don't stray away from the number, right? I made Kansas City 8. That is what the number is. Is this a good teaser leg? Well, anytime, there's people blindly tease that. Right. In the past, unless they like the dog. If they like the dog, they wouldn't. But if they thought that Kansas City was the better team, and they are at that point, I made it 7. But I think they're a good teaser team because you have their experience, and you have, you're going to be able to tease this down to 2. You're crossing those 4 key numbers. Does plays per game, so in their first matchup, Kansas City had 70 compared to Houston's 58. And then they also held Houston to just 84 rushing yards. They didn't run for too many either. They had 124 total in that game. But Houston's going to have to run the ball a little bit in this game. They're not going to be able to live by the pass alone, that's for sure. Well, the other thing that they're kind of living by is turnovers, and their defense has been really good, and they've been creating turnovers, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do that against this Kansas City offense. And you can't predict turnovers, that's for sure, so you don't know. And again, if you told me who was going to win the turnover battle, which Kansas City, if we had to put up a prop right now, Kansas City would be -0.5. They're the home team, and they're an 8-point favorite in the game, so they would definitely be the favorite. A half minus money. Ooh. All right. Well, that's it for that one. Looking to play the under for you. Maybe a good teaser leg for the favorite there. But let's go on to the other team that got a bye week, and that is the Detroit Lions, the number 1 overall seed for the NFC. And they're a 9-point favorite at home, total 55. They will be playing the Washington Commanders after that upset over Tampa Bay. Where would you like to start? What are your numbers on this one? I made Detroit 6 and 64.5. Both really good offensive teams, and we know that Daniels now has some playoff experience after 1 week against Tampa. Hopefully a game that maybe Detroit gets out in front too in this game. I only made them 6, but with the bye, I've got to give them 2.5 points for that bye, that extra week off. And I would think the game figures about 8.5 for Detroit, but I did bet the game over 55.5. We don't have to worry about the weather. So I made this game 7. If I give Detroit 2.5 too, so I'm right there at 9.5. But I made the game 54.5. So my total's right there. I really don't have a play on this one unless, and I can't even really tease that down because I'm there at a field goal. Do not tease that. You don't want. That's the last thing. I tease a total only when I have a correlation. Right. When I can correlate the side to the total. And that it helps to build a case on that. But you wouldn't tease that total to another game or a side. Like you wouldn't tease Kansas. I was talking about teasing the 9. Then okay. Gotcha. Then I only get 3. Yeah. Well, I guess there's 6.5 teasers, but. Yeah, you'd have to go to, now you got to lay $1.50 or $1.55. So that's, you're going to have to check into what the prices are. But yeah, I think those teams have advantages. They are the best team, and they are at home. And the crowd's going to be great. Detroit's crowd's gotten better. Their home advantage has gone up from like 1 to 2.5 over the last couple of years. Washington played in Tampa, flew home, lost a day of practice, then got a fly to Detroit. They basically lose 2 days of practice where Detroit's been preparing now. They've had extra time to prepare for Washington.
Couple notes that I did find, though. Commanders are third worst in rushing yards allowed. They've given up 16 rushing touchdowns and 1 receiving to running backs. So Jahmyr Gibbs may have a fantastic game in this one. But looking on the other side, I did look up the Lions are not great against running quarterbacks, giving up the 4th most rushing yards to quarterbacks. They've also given up 6 rushing touchdowns.
I like those 2 stats from my over.
Yeah, you do. So Jaden Daniels will be running, looking at his rushing yards and looking at Gibbs in this one. But I do think we maybe need to pump the brakes a little bit because Detroit just dominated the Minnesota Vikings that only had 2 losses going into that game. And now Washington upsets Tampa and everybody has them as a sleeper team to win the NFC.
That game was back and forth early. And then Detroit took the lead. And again, then they ran the clock out. And Minnesota's defense is far better than Washington's. Washington's offense is their strength of their team.
Yeah.
So, first playoff game, he scored 23 points. And if he can run in this game, Jaden Daniels, he may create some plays for his team. And I think he could put points on the board. I have him scoring 28. I think he can get 4 touchdowns.
Okay, so another thing to help your total is both of these coaches have shown that they will go for it on 4th down. So could help.
Yeah, no, that's a big help.
If it's turnover on downs. But
right.
But yeah.
Still gives the other team, I guess, fairly good field position if they don't get it. If they get it, you continue the drive. So I like that.
I don't have median numbers, but I do have averages. Jared Goff on the year completed 72% of his passes, 8.6 yard per attempt, 37 passing touchdowns, and 12 INTs. And Jaden Daniels on the other side completed 69% of his passes, 7.4 yards per attempt, 25 touchdowns, and 9 INTs. So
played in the Super Bowl with the Rams. He's got plenty of playoff experience, and he wants to get back to that Super Bowl, and he wants to win it. So I think you're going to see a very focused Goff. I think they could score in the first couple of drives. And if it's 14-7 at the end of one, we're looking really good.
I will just bring up, because we do have updated future bets here at the South Point AFC NFC Championship. And then, of course, Exactas. I wanted to ask you, because you have Detroit number 2 in your power ratings. For best team in the NFC, though, because you have an AFC above them.
Correct.
Even money right now to win the NFC. Is that good value? They have to win 2 games.
I think it is. 2-team parlay. They're minus 550 in this game. And they'll host probably Philadelphia. And if they do, I think they're going to be about a 4-point favorite at home against the Eagles. And that's about $1.70, maybe $1.80. You're going to get back $90 on your 100. If you rolled it over. Okay. So even money's really good bet, I think, right now.
I like it. That
makes the convenience. You bet it, you're over with, and you're just rooting for the Lions to get to the Super Bowl.
Next on the NFC is the Eagles, plus 175. And then the Rams are 7-1, and the Commanders are 14-1 right now. All right, let's go to Sunday's games. Speaking of Philadelphia, they are hosting the LA Rams, 6-point favorite at home, total 44. Where's your number come out to in this one?
I have the Eagles 4 and 42.5 before the weather. And it's going to be windy and rainy and snowy on a grass field in Philadelphia. So I went under today, under the 44 in that football game.
Taking a whole touchdown off of yours, or?
I took a full touchdown off the game. The way Philadelphia has played as of late, they're 21st in pace, but again, when I just mentioned 32 seconds in between plays, we already know the Rams are going to play slower, and we know the Rams have a great defense. I think these are 2 top 5 defenses going against each other. Philadelphia's offense is a top 5 offense. When Hurts is playing like Jalen Hurts, but he's coming off the concussion. He did not play that way, and I think they're going to really rely on Saquon Barkley to run the football. The Rams are going to rely on Kyren Williams to run the football, and that clock's going to continue to run.
Ironically, though, he did use his legs still. He ran for 36 yards on 6 attempts in that game, so I was pretty surprised to see that.
Yeah. But they were conservative. He had to get out of the pocket because they were pressuring him. The Rams had 9 sacks. They're going to pressure him.
Oh, yeah. But I think getting that one game out of his system, and I'm saying this because I'm leaning towards all the favorites here, and that makes me nervous. But I have the Eagles 5 and the total 44. I did not take 7 off yet, but if I do with the weather and both defenses, I think that is the best play in this one under. But I do think the Eagles will ultimately win this game. Because can I tease this down to just get them to win outright?
If you like it that way. But you don't have, it's 6 down. You said you made it 5. I only made it 4. I think it's going to be a closer game than you think.
And you had 6 yesterday, so you did make a little bit of an adjustment.
I did. I liked what I saw on the stats from the box score from the Rams game against. Yeah, they played really well.
Well, and the Eagles against the Packers. Really, the Packers had 4 turnovers.
Right.
And if you adjust correctly with that, then it's closer than what the finals said.
Yeah, so the Eagles didn't move up, and I was really surprised how conservative they played. They can't play conservative against the Rams.
The Rams do have home revenge. The Eagles won 37-20 in LA, November 24th.
But with the wind and the rain, they are going to play conservative. So that's why I'm saying I think the Rams have a shot. I think points will be at a premium. I might even make a parlay on this one. I'm not teasing it because I don't have the value, but I'll probably parlay the Rams to the under.
Just throwing everything out there, playing devil's advocate, but one thing that could be concerning for the under is the Eagles are second best against the run. So we've seen Kyren Williams just really help lead this offense. They've only given up 5 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns to running backs and 0 receiving touchdowns to running backs. So Matthew Stafford will have to use his arm. We know that he is more than capable, and that might pick up their pace of play a little bit, right?
No,
not necessarily.
No. Just because they're passing, no, they don't. I just don't see it. I want to look at Cooper Kupp. Remember, I talked about him last week and was really worried about not getting a lot of targets the last 3 games. 1 target last week. That was it. He did catch it, 35-yard pass he caught, but just 1 target, 1 reception. I think he must have an injury, a lower extremity, that he's not moving as fast as he normally would.
So you want to go under in his props?
I'm going to definitely go under in his props.
Okay.
Especially with the way the weather is now.
Yeah.
This is a game I'm going to look to go under in a lot of props in this game.
Last but not least, the big game here, and it is the closest spread. Now the Baltimore Ravens have flipped to the favorite, just a 1-point favorite. So basically a pick'em game here, Buffalo 51. But the Bills did open a 1-point favorite, and you and I both have the Ravens as the number 1 team right now in the NFL.
And I made the Ravens 1 and 61.5 because of that home field advantage for Buffalo in the game. But yeah, I think it's going to be a close game, but 2 great quarterbacks. Could argue we have 2 of the 3 best quarterbacks. We'll put Patrick Mahomes into it, but those are the 3 best. So we have 2 of them here going head to head. The one scores, the other one's got to score. I mean, you can't fall two touchdowns back of a good offensive team. So I think you're going to get that scoring. I think it goes back and forth. I think it's a good first half over. Again, the weather is going to be horrible on Saturday, but it's going to clear up on Sunday. It's going to be very, very cold there, but no wind, which is the big key. So I think they'll be fine. Little extra Under Armour.
So you will hear all week. Josh Allen is undefeated at home in the playoffs, and Lamar Jackson struggles in the playoffs. So there will be a lot of attention and people talking about the Buffalo Bills. We did see these 2 already play this year, and Baltimore was able to run all over them. They had 271 total rushing yards. Derrick Henry had 199. No receivers or tight ends scored a touchdown. So both Derrick Henry and Justice Hill had a receiving touchdown, and then Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson each had a rushing touchdown. But should be a great game. I think the Ravens ultimately win this one. Now that they have Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson's got a different confidence going into the playoffs. But you like the over 51.5.
Yep. Good quarterbacks like that. It's what you need when you're betting over in football.
So that's it for us for today. On Monday, we will break down Notre Dame. I didn't even get to my board yet.
Yeah, and I don't have anything to wipe mine off with. We ran out of tissues on this side.
You can use that is from my board from earlier. Can we take a 1 minute break? 60-second, 90 seconds? All right, don't go anywhere. When we get back, you're going to get our whiteboards and our plays of the day here on Sports by the Book.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza. Plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book. Over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. It is time for our whiteboard plays of the day. So we're going to get you those right now. You want to start it off?
I got 3 unders. Dayton under, Butler under, Cleveland State under, and then one side. Talked about Nebraska, Omaha today. Think they're the better team with revenge from last year. So laying the 4.5 with Omaha in that game.
I do like that one as well. And ironically, I went with 4 overs. So I have Carolina Hurricanes and the Sabres over 6. That is even money for that one. IU Indy and Oakland over 135.5. Cal and UNC over 161.5. And then we've got Murray State and Illinois Chicago over 138.5.
You got you covered. I got you covered on unders. You got them covered on overs.
Very good. So pick your poison. Ryan, I put that North Carolina in there for you as well. So I hope your team has a lot of points.
I will have a dog of the day for Frank and Punchlines today.
Yes, Frank Nicotero. Punchlines FN is the YouTube channel. Make sure you go to that at noon today. He's actually got a really good comedian coming on, so you'll want to check that one out. Thank you so much for being with us the last 3 days. We appreciate all of you. Thank you, everybody in the chat. I feel like I missed Keith Lyle last time. And we do have a young native, Tino, 64. Okay, I missed a couple people in there. So thank you so much. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about Sports by the Book. And we give out whiteboard plays every single day. For Kenny White, I'm Alex White. We'll see you guys again soon here on Sports by the Book.